Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Team Bin's YouTube page again. Andrew the Collector here with an update for Runick today. This is the fourth and final deck that I've been testing out to see which deck I'm going to be taking to the YCS in Anaheim in just a couple weeks now, actually. And I took it to my locals the other day, and even though there was only 4 of us there, including myself, I made second place. The only deck that I had trouble against was Runick. Labyrinth. But the other 2 matches I had, I won those. The one was against Branded, and the other one was Centurion. So I did pretty well, but Labyrinth was just such a pain in the butt. It's probably this deck's biggest, weakness, its worst matchup. But we'll just go ahead and get right into the profile. So for the monsters, I'm actually putting in 2 Majesty's Fiend and 1 Inspector Border. You could opt to have 3 of either or, but I decided to go with this ratio, and it actually did pretty well. I didn't really see much of a difference in having 3 of either of them or just a collective ratio like this one, but it did the job, and I think it did really well. One interesting tech I saw on a list that topped recently at a regional was 3 Performapal, 5 Rainbow Magician. You basically use this guy for its pendulum effect, where while it's in the pendulum zone, apply one of these effects based on the number of set cards in their spell and trap zone. For 0, all monsters that they control cannot attack or activate their effects. So it's basically like Pseudo Mystic Mine. And if they have 4 or more, the attack of all monsters they control become double, but that rarely ever happens. So let's say that you're going second and your opponent has a full board. If you're able to activate this with them having no set back row, and they let this go through, you basically lock out their board, and you can basically just board break their entire field. So I had really good success with this, especially against the Branded and Centurion. It was really well done. So I do highly recommend 5 Rainbow Magician for Runics in the future as a good floodgate. And that's the only monsters that we run. So the rest is obviously spells, since it's a spell-based deck. So I got 2 Runick Fountain, because it's obviously at 2, and we have the Terraforming to make it 3 copies. I think running Runick Fountain at 2 is a good compromise. But you could find a way to cripple this deck down a little bit more, just to make it, I guess, a little bit more even with how much it's used as an engine in other decks. But I think it's fine how it is. Let me know what you guys think. And for the rest of the ratios, it's pretty standard. 3 tip for the searching, 3 freezing curses for the negation, flashing fire for popping a special summon monster, destruction for popping back row, and 3 Runick Slumber for protection against battle and destruction effects. Plus, you're basically using these cards to mill out your opponent's deck. This is the deck's win condition, is to just, decking them out. And the rest of the Runick cards are just 1 Runick Gold Droplet, 1 Dispelling, and 1 Smiting Storm. I'm actually thinking of bumping up Smiting Storm to 2, because it's just really good in a lot of situations. Because one stipulation that this deck actually has is, let's say that your opponent only has 2 cards in his deck left. You can't use the effect of any of the Runick cards that would banish 3. That's they have to banish exactly the amount that they say, where Smiting Storm comes in to where you can banish up to the amount of cards your opponent controls. So that might be a nice way to get around it. But even then, if your opponent's at 2 cards, it may not matter in the long run. But it's just food for thought. The rest of the spells, I got 2 Dimensional Fissure. We don't really care about monsters in our deck. It's all about the spells and traps. So having this, I'm actually thinking of putting this at 3. It's just really good in a lot of matchups. 2 Pod Duality and 1 Pod of Prosperity. I only ran into 1 situation where Duality hurt me, but even then it wasn't that bad. It's just I wasn't able to extend my turn as far as I wanted, but I wouldn't change Duality any further. Plus 1 Day of Peace and Time Tearing Morganite. You can switch up these ratios depending on how you want. I don't have Card Demise, otherwise I would run it into this deck. It's another good tech that you can do for draw power and consistency. For the traps, 2 Power Sink Stone. I opted to put this in instead of Skill Drain because with some of your cards, Skill Drain can hurt you. But, you know, like I said, it's up to you with how you want to ratio it. 1 Grave of the Super Ancient Organism for the Tempeh matches. It was a 1-card kill for Centurion and Branded. This was the reason why I won those games, if I'm being honest, even more than any of the Runick cards. There can only be 1, and 1 goes a match. I don't have Rivalry of the Warlords, otherwise I would be running it too. Yeah, that's it for the main deck. Pretty standard Runick Sun build. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck real quick. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. Standard 3 Hugin, 3 Runick Wings, 3 Gary, and 3 Frecky. I actually do like Frecky, unlike a lot of other people, because he can get some of your cards back from the graveyard, and he can still mill stuff if you interrupt a opponent's attack with him. And the rest of the 3 should be I forgot what its name. I think it's Sleipnir of the Runick, but I don't have Sleipnir, so I just put these guys in for filler. How long has it been since you guys seen this before? And I actually can get out Chaos Angel with Inspector Border and wait, can I? I don't think I can. I misspoke. Actually, you know what? I can. If with Gary and the Majesty's Fiend. You know what? Just scratch the whole part. You don't really need Angel. I'm just talking. Now off into the side deck. 3 Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood for the time. Winged Dragon of Ross Sphere mode. As long as Centurion is running around, I don't think putting in Lava Golem is quite a good idea because they can still utilize it since it is a level 8. And yeah, I think this is going to be better in the upcoming format, especially against Raziel. 2 Prohibition, because if you lock out your opponent out of a certain key card in their deck, then it's pretty much game over for them. And I put this into test, but I never really got it off to really give, good feedback on it, but Quiet Life. What is it? You can only activate it during your beginning of your main phase 1 if you control no monsters. If any player normal summons or sets a monster, that player can no longer special summon for the turn. And vice versa, if they special summon, they can no longer normal summon or set. Depending on the deck that you use, this could be a real game changer. But I put it in there to test it, but I haven't really been able to get much results out of it because, like I said, never used it, never saw it. So you can take it out if you want, switch it out for something else if you feel so inclined. 2 Dimensional Barrier because it's just so good. And 2 Curse Seal the Forbidden Spell. This is another thing I used against Branded. I locked out their Branded opening, and they weren't able to use it for the rest of the duel, which was really nice. And then 2 more Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. I'm thinking about taking this out for the other Floodgate the band plays on, because I think that one is going to be very vital in the next format. So yeah, that is it for the deck profile. I hope you guys like it. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell down below for notifications. And if you want to see any other versions of Runick, let me know in the comments and I'll be able to see if I can make that happen. But until then, we'll catch you guys in the next one.